Good day, everyone. So I am Miss Grisel Maybe Rochalda, and I am with my partner, Miss Erica Midingle. And by this time, we will be presenting the structuralism and transformational generative grammar, along with its advantages, disadvantages, and implications. So without further ado, let's begin. So let us first discuss the structuralism. So structuralism is any one of the several schools of the 20th century wherein it committed to the structuralist principle that a language is a self-contained relational structure. So the elements of which it derives their existence and their value from their distribution and oppositions in a text or discourse. So the term structural linguistics can be used to refer to two movements which are developed independently of each other. So the first is the European and the second is the American movement. So, meanwhile, on the other hand, transformational grammar, or also called as the transformational generative grammar, is a system of language analysis that recognizes the relationship among the various elements of a sentence and among the possible sentences of a language that uses process or rules. So some of these are called the transformations. So to express these relationships, transformational grammar assigns a deep structure and the surface structure. This is to show the relationship of each or such sentences. So the notion of deep structure can be especially helpful in explaining ambiguous utterances. So with this, the most widely discussed theory of transformational grammar was proposed by the US linguist Noam Chomsky in 1957. So his work contradicted the earlier tenets of structuralism by rejecting the notion that every language is unique. So the use of transformational grammar in language analysis assumes that a certain number of formal and substantive universals. So here are the advantages of these um, issues. First is it actually combines syntax, phonology, lexicon, and semantics. So it gives an overall conception of the system's language. And this system is more accurate and more complete than other grammatical models. The second one is that transformational generative grammar gives a more economical and systematic description of language. It provides a system of rules which permits the generation of an infinite number of grammatical sentences. Unlike the traditional grammar rules, it is stated on the transformational generative grammar. It has a very clear and it is formally explicit. So the third one is that transformational generative grammar shows that it's very clear and it processes a great generalizing power. So it also able to clarify underlying structures and regularities which have been ignored by grammarians of traditional grammar and structural grammar. Fourth is that TG grammar admits that the existence of linguistic universals and analysis between languages at the level of deep structure. So as for language universal, traditional grammar admits that the existence of language universals, but structural grammar objects this view. So according to structural grammar, each language presents an individual structure, but TG grammar admits that the description of all languages have the same general form and the same type of rules. This refers to the formal universals, and they also present common categories and deep structures, and this refers to the substantive universal. And the last advantage of the transformational generative grammar is that it can characterize notions of grammaticality and the degree of grammaticality which are indispensable in the area of evaluation, testing, and error analysis. For the continuation of this discussion, Miss Dingle will continue.